What's up, Wargamers? Welcome to the Drop Podcast. This is our first podcast episode of 2018. This is Inquisitor Nathan here with Praetor Sean, and we've got a special cool episode for you today because we are going to be talking with the Death of Hope community-made film, a fan-made film, I guess you would say. And I had been talking with my friend Marqus Kane, who is doing voice acting work for the Death of Hope fan-made film. And when it came up on YouTube and I saw the Death of Hope trailer, of course, you know, I got that link from Marqus, and it was super cool. It was really exciting, and a lot of people, I'd venture to say, hopefully most everybody has seen that at least by now, and you know, got as excited as we are for it. So I know, Sean, when I messaged you, you know, it seemed like I was like, I gotta get the Praetor on to talk about this. This is 30K. This is a Horus Heresy, fan made film.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the trailer about 5-6 times already. So I was pretty excited.
So joining us today, I will let you go ahead and introduce yourself, sir, to the people.
Oh yeah, hi guys. I'm Mark. I'm creator of Death of Hope and the artist. And yeah.
Awesome.
Like a full introduction.
We're glad to have you with us today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start into asking you, like, what was the inspiration for wanting to make this film? Like, you know, how did it come to you, and where you're like, what was the thing where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna make something super awesome for Horus Heresy?
Well, I'm primarily a 30K fan, so going to Horus Heresy was pretty natural for me. Everyone reads a lot of the books, and you kind of imagine the universe through reading, through playing the tabletop, through painting and all that. And it's all just in the imagination. So it was kind of something where, for the longest time, especially after Lord Inquisitor came out, a huge inspiration from him, especially, was to solidify that universe in something where it's a visual representation of what you see and feel in the books. So
right.
Yeah.
All right, that's really cool, man. So yeah. Do you have background in animation and filmmaking?
Actually, I had animation experience in college, but I went to school actually for 3D modeling for games.
Okay.
And the only, I guess, film experience I ever had was lighting. So to answer your question in terms of animation and filmmaking, not really.
Okay.
So going into this, it was pure, like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So
wow. That's pretty sweet. I mean, so you say you have experience with 3D modeling. So are we talking like where you would do stuff like motion capture from like people to a green screen and then put that into a 3D model? Like, for someone who's just completely ignorant, can you kind of explain more about that?
More like all the surface detail that you see on screen. That's done through a 3D program, and it's built from the ground up. Like, you just start off with a blank screen and kind of creating the 3D objects in that way. As far as the motion capture goes, the actual data itself, most of it is actually from sources like the Unreal Engine and Mixamo and stuff like that. So I haven't done any motion capture from my end, period. Like, I have no suit, which I'm looking actually forward to getting, but yeah, so all the 3D, when it comes to the 3D stuff, it's just everything that you see on screen.
Gotcha. Now, like, I'm familiar sort of with like Unity 3D, and I've like kind of played around in something like that. Is that like something that someone could, make something like 3D models in if they were playing around and like looking to just be like, hey, people use this to make games. Is that something that's kind of like friendly-ish that could be understood for somebody doing that stuff?
Oh, you mean like in terms of, kind of replicating what, or kind of similar to what I've done?
Yeah, just either game design or like, 3D modeling and that kind of thing. Like, I don't know if, again, I'm speaking from a place of almost complete ignorance, but I just know I've seen that before.
Yeah. So the one I'm using is the Unreal Engine. I did use Unity way back in college, but it wasn't as artist friendly. the Unreal Engine, you can kind of get in there not knowing anything and kind of get a hang of it after a few tutorials online. But yeah, cool. Anybody can go in there, and as long as you spend enough time doing it, if you want to learn how to do it, anyone can start off doing what they want to do in there. As far as creating 3D models, you'd have to use programs like Maya, Softimage, Blender, all that stuff. So.
So when did you just like start from like complete scratch and then just build up from there?
In terms of everything that's in the trailer itself?
Yeah.
Yes. Literally
so
blank
impressive,
slate. Like when you go into the engine, there's nothing. Like the world's empty. You don't have assets to purchase to get these models. Everything was built from the ground up. So I mean, there's certain things I will say. There's certain things you can purchase that was in the trailer, like for example, some of the fire effects.
Right.
Some stuff that I couldn't really learn within the time period I had to do it. So
sure.
But as far as the assets in the trailer goes, it's all done from the ground up.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's like so impressive.
And it's tough because it was I could literally spend hours on one model, and there's some people, and I understand this. There's some people that are specifically 3D modelers, and sometimes you get them to come in and they start saying stuff like the quality's low. It's mostly because the quality was a huge stroke across the screen, right? I couldn't.
Right.
If I focus on one model too long, you guys would never see this,
Right,
so
right.
That's why
I mean,
it is where it's at.
I think people just like to talk shit, really. And like, like
Well,
get off your ass and make something. Like, well, the quality's low, bro. Like, you've never made anything in your life, so it's like, be quiet.
Well, what's unique about this project is, regardless what's on screen, fans feel and they see things that they've only read, and you're gonna get more of that with the upcoming prologue that actually is already underway. But yeah, the unique part about this is it's only for the fans, and the fans feel that.
Yeah,
so,
that's super cool.
Regardless what's on screen, it's only for a niche group. So
right, and I think that's a great place to come from. I mean, obviously, I think Sean also feels the same way. Coming at it from a fan angle and being Horus Heresy mega fans, that's something that everybody's just really easily able to jump behind. Speaking a bit to like people working with you on the project, so tell us a little bit about how like you thought about, hey, where can I find talent? Like, where can I find collaboration or with people to work with me on this project, and what was that kind of process like for you? Obviously, I heard about it from Marqus, and he's working on the project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. Well, I don't know if he told you this part. I was modeling Space Marines and stuff like 2 years ago, and just throwing them up online. I just do one of those like once a year kind of thing. 1 year I decided to do Gilliman from 30K, and as soon as I finished that, a couple of people messaged me, and Marqus being one of them, and said, if you need any voice actors for whatever projects you have in the future, let me know. And I told myself, there's no way I'm doing a freaking film. I'm like, it takes a lot of work just doing one guy, and then so I kind of brewed on that for about 2 weeks, and I was just like, well, shit. I mean, I like everyone else want it. No one else is gonna do it, so.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So I got back to these
right there.
guys.
That is how you get things done, ladies and gentlemen. No one's gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. That's awesome.
Well, the thing is, there's people that say, well, it can be done better graphically, and it's just, I don't know, it's a touchy subject for me.
Hey, listen. Don't give the haters any weight, okay? Like.
No. If anything, they've actually helped feed me throughout this process. Kind of like, oh, I'll show you. But no, like I was saying, it's really, when you're thinking about doing one of these, especially fan made stuff, it needs to come from a fan. Like,
sure.
there's no. It doesn't matter how cool the graphics are on screen. It can be complete.
And that's where I think that like mainstream companies and even AAA studios at times and big Hollywood studios where things will get lost is that they do not pay enough homage ever to like what fans want. You know, you're never going to be able to please everybody, but you know, when something does come from the place of that fans, and I've seen a lot of badly written 40K fan fiction, okay, but like you know, there has something to be said for the passion that goes into those things, that goes into fictional aspects of the universe that you really just don't get. I think that to this day, the person who has done the best with that from like something that is loved by fans, novel or book to movie, would be like the Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movie. I think that there was enough there that it really was like something that people weren't going to be just totally upset with. I think that movie could have completely bombed and gone a totally different direction and really, really pissed off like all of the Tolkien fan base, and it didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it is, as being a fan, it is scary when you hear something's going to come out, you know?
Right.
Like, for example, I used to play World of Warcraft back in the day, and when I heard the movie was coming out, I was like, oh, no. Like...
Well, I'm a big Magic guy, and they were talking about making a Magic movie, and I don't think that ever happened.
Oh.
But, you know, can you just imagine, like, Fox making a Magic the Gathering movie? I mean, that would be awful. That would be a train wreck. Like... It just, ugh. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, there's another one. Like, nobody's got that right yet. I guess.
I unfortunately got into the nerd scene really late, and I freaking hate it. But it's because growing up, I didn't really have anyone around me that really was into that stuff.
Right.
I like that stuff personally, so I've been a closet nerd my whole life. But, oh yeah, and so, you know, after coming into the gaming industry, it really opened me up to a lot of people who actually like that kind of stuff. So, yeah. But no, going back on your question about you know, the talent in the group, I do want to mention the guys in this group because they did a pretty good job with their stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though I've done all the, you know, CG work in there and you know, and all that stuff, it would never come together without these guys, you know. So we got Tim Pedersen. He's the guy who works for our sound effects, you know, like the Volkite sound and some of the footsteps and everything. And he's still learning, right? Like the guys in our group, you know, they didn't come from like, you know, Hollywood backgrounds, right? So and I opened this project up to, this is a small project. It's a fun project. And I opened this up to people in the community and, you know, give them an opportunity to be part of something. And I had no idea this was going to be as big as it would, but yeah, like, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, saying stuff like, oh, you know, the sound wasn't there and everything. You know, just to let you guys know, we are growing as a group. You know, what you saw is going to be way better the next time. So yeah, we have Tim Pedersen, who works on the sound, and Tim Nilsson, who actually works on the music. He can whip stuff up in like 30 seconds, and he'll come up with something amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Marqus, the guy you're talking to, he's actually the lore expert. You know, so as much as I know my stuff, there's only so much one person can know.
Right.
He's the kind of guy I look at where it's like, holy shit, he's an encyclopedia, right? So that's why he's on the team. There's certain things of the universe that I don't know, and sometimes he'll come in and, you know, I'll show something to him, and he'll look at it and be like, oh, how about we add something like this? I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that was in there. Like, for example, the shields on the Terminators.
Right.
I had no idea, and I'm a 30K fan, but I'm mostly a painter and someone who listens to audio dramas and reads the books. So I didn't connect that with, maybe you guys know that in the tabletop, but that kind of, you know, blew away a lot of people when that was shown. They were like, what is that? What's going on there? so yeah.
I mean, Sean will know better than I. I'm a neophyte to 30K, and I love it. But, you know, I play my Golden Boys, and that's pretty much all I care about. I do like Alpha Legion, though, Sean.
Good. Yeah, I've been all around at 30K. I played way too many factions.
I've been talking too much, so why don't you ask a question?
Well, I mean, that leads into a really good one. Do you play 30K, Mark?
No, I actually don't.
But you do paint, you said, and you listen to the dramas.
I do paint and listen to dramas. I have an army. I just don't have I just don't have people to play with.
What's your army?
What's the army? That was my question.
Oh, it's the Ultramarines, man.
Obviously, it's the Ultramarines. What? Oh no! Hey, everybody, we're gonna put up a hate mail filter now for Mark. It's gonna be all right.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's what's beautiful about this, because we're trying to show 40, and I get where the hate's coming from.
Yeah.
But we're trying to show 40K people kind of what 30K Ultramarines are all about. I mean, even 30K guys are like, yeah, they're all right actually in 30K, whereas in 40K you get the opposite reaction. But
I think it's just because GW tries to, like, they're the poster children, right?
Well, that's what they were, right?
Yeah.
That's what they were, and then they became something else later on in the years. I'm not gonna say anything, but
like, stop giving us frickin' Ultramarine decals and Blood Angels boxes. GW, if you're listening to this, like, don't do it. Okay.
I don't know, but that's also one of the strengths of Heresy. Is it everybody's got a faction that they like, and it's a lot based off of your own personality. So
sure,
you'll naturally butt heads with stuff. Like conversely, is there a legion that you don't like, Mark?
Is there a legion that I hate or don't like?
Hate's a strong word, but yes, hate.
I don't know. When you read the books, you get perspectives of individuals, not just the legions themselves. So, short answer, no, I don't hate any of them actually.
Fair. You're a better man than I.
They each have their own thing, which is what I love about it. So.
Oh, I already know where this is going. I already know where this next question's going.
Okay. Do you want to say that now or after?
No.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
I just want to let 40K fans out there know, and Nate being a 40K fan.
Yes.
We're not being selfish with the whole 30K thing and keeping it within 30K. The reason why we're doing that is also to give people some curiosity. And after the trailer was released, Marcus was all over that. He was just sending us messages saying, how people have bought Terminators and Contemptors because of this and all that, and they even bought like novels from the Horus Heresy. So it's definitely brought some people into the fold. So that's it's not like we're trying to
You guys want to know a secret? You guys want to know a secret?
Yeah.
I actually enjoy playing Horus Heresy more than I do 40K 8th edition right now.
Boom.
Don't tell anyone that, but that's true.
Is that okay?
It's
all good.
I'm a 7th edition. Like, I just love it so much, dude. Like it. I played Horus Heresy like probably a month ago, and I'm like, damn, I miss 7th edition. Like, this is so great.
Well, I'll tell you what. Even though I'm a painter and stuff like that, it's not like my guys have never touched the tabletop. I've played some games in 7th edition, so I know what you mean about diving into 8th edition. I get it a bit.
A bit. I mean, it's not like I would actually be less frustrated if I just didn't think that the last chapter approved was very good. I think that there were things they could have worked on that they didn't. Points values were screwy, and like, I'm really excited and I also feel like I don't really have flavor for my Space Marines in 40K right now, which is the Imperial Fist. I think that they've got lots of flavor playing them for Horus Heresy. I had a lot of fun playing them in Horus Heresy, and it felt like I could play them like Space Marines. They don't feel necessarily unique when I play them in 8th edition 40K. And now I'm actually excited, and I feel like I'm going to have the first army other than Tyranids that's going to have flavor for me, which is the Custodes, because they're finally getting they're actually getting a codex. which is great that they didn't leave people out of the fold there, because everybody bought that $150 Talons of the Emperor box, and then like we lost the rule set for them. We're like, oh shit, we just have all these custodians that are like sitting here with this big ass Land Raider that we can't use in Horus Heresy now. Like, what are we gonna do with this? So that was like, thank you, GW, for doing Adeptus Custodes Codex.
Well, the fact that they even exist right now, that blows my mind.
What, the fact that the Adeptus Custodes exist?
No, like I mean, like as models. I remember that there was a time where it's just like you just never, they were just never. You always read about them.
Right.
You always saw pictures. But so I mean, I know what people are saying about the release, but I was excited.
Sure. I mean,
just because it's just something that everyone has been wanting to see. So
Sean, you're more you would know more lore wise this question, and this question's been like burning in my mind. So if a regular Imperial citizen, which by the way I do love that you guys have the Imperial citizens in that trailer, it was so damn cool. But like if an Imperial citizen saw a Space Marine, they think, oh my gosh, he's like a demigod. He's an angel of death. They don't like, it's rare for them to see that stuff and to see Space Marines. What the hell would they think if they saw a custodian? Like, would they think it's like a friggin' Primarch? I mean, these are like the Emperor's companions, so it's like.
There's actually like one time it happens in a book, and the child that sees the custodian just assumes he's the Emperor, like genuinely.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I just love everything about them, man. Oh, so good.
Yeah. Actually, it's a good thing you asked that question, because a lot of people are asking in the video why are they acting like the Space Marines are just kind of like regular. This is when they were legions. This is when they were governing planets and stuff. So seeing a Space Marine in that time period to some citizens was kind of like another day, but they still had that effect on them where it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like 40K where you never see them at all.
Right.
But they still had that holy shit reaction, even though. But yeah.
Huh. That's cool.
Anyway, sorry, I cut into someone's conversation. There, go ahead.
No, yeah, I'd like to go into that a little bit more, like without revealing more than you want to. Tell us a bit about like the story of Death of Hope and a little of your inspiration, because like I can tell it's in McCrag because I know the story really well. I see there's word bearers in the trailer, and there's world eaters in the trailer, so it's clearly McCrag or 500 Worlds. It's Ultramar for sure.
It is Ultramar. It is. I'll tell you, it is not McCrag, but it is one of the worlds. And this is kind of like when I wanted to. As soon as I got the opportunity, it's kind of been in my head for a while after reading stuff and all that. It covers part of the Shadow Crusade, where this is one of the worlds that hasn't received news from what the hell happened on Calth. So imagine Calth being surprised. Calth. Yeah, so imagine Calth, and it is a world, right? So don't think it's just they don't know what happened on Calth. They don't know about the treachery yet. So imagine what happened on Calth, but with world eaters. So it's going to be it's definitely an experience for people who've read the books at a different angle. So
that's pretty exciting, because I saw Gal Vorbak in there, and I know a lot of people were juddering when they saw the Contemptor, but I really liked that Gal Vorbak scene.
Oh, dude, I hated rigging that guy. I'm not used to his physiology. It's not, it's just, but it looked all right. I guess. I'm just glad
Nate,
people enjoyed it.
What's up?
If you didn't know, that Gal Vorbak are like proto-possessed Marines, so it's that like demony guy that's like about 2/3 of the way through the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, only that they're not fully there yet, right? They're actually in sync with each other.
They're
not like fully gone over to chaos.
No.
Well, it's like a semi-religious experience for them. So they're like they're supposed to be in communion,
and they can actually switch back to their normal form.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not always like that. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, you mentioning the World Eaters and Shadow Crusade, I mean, makes a few books come to mind for me. Do you have a favorite book?
Oh, I hover on for this in specifically. I hover over Betrayer a lot for
That's
a
what
lot
I
of the
guess.
inspiration here. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm making sure that actually, um, yeah, even though it's Shadow Crusade, the point of this, the cool thing about not going on a solid story, like for example, if I just did Betrayer, you'd be very limited, right? So I wanted to, even though it's a niche film, I wanted to reach out to most of the people who are in other books that don't involve Ultramarines at all. So you're going to see inspirations pulled from different areas. It doesn't, not necessarily around Shadow Crusade, but it's to help everyone enjoy it, even though their guys aren't on screen. So
That's cool. So like, how much do you guys, or is the story itself, and the map for everything like that, is it completed?
it's still in the works actually, but as far as the story goes, about 60% through it.
Okay.
But I do it on the side, and then there's times where I do it. There's times where I work on the project itself. So it's like it's developing as I go on. I don't have a lot of time on my hands in the first place. So
Right. Sure. Yeah. For sure, man.
yeah.
Now.
I wish I could do this full time. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, hey, man, we are just on top of segues right now. So
it's all good.
Just segueing right into the next thing, right? So now I'm going to ask this question, and I'll let you say the yay or nay if you can or cannot speak upon this. But of course, I have to ask the question. Have you guys gone to or spoken with Games Workshop about any type of official licensing?
So before I started the project, I actually presented the idea. I just went on to GW's website and just used their email there. I'm assuming no one responds to that because I wrote to them. But so, anyways, I got no response back after
community team email.
Yeah. Well, that's and and sometimes when you have nothing to show, they don't really have anything. They don't take it seriously.
Right.
So I just went ahead and just kept it under wraps. That was the hardest thing to do because I just wanted to just throw everything on the internet. But actually, the guys, they don't get involved until later, but they did. They were always there when I was gonna, I had the leash on me. I had to have a leash. I just wanted to spill the beans. But sorry, going back into the licensing thing. We decided just to, and a calculated decision based on things that have been already released, such as the Lord Inquisitor and all like that stuff. We decided, okay, well, why not? So kept it under wraps for the longest time, and then it was getting to a point where I wanted to stop, and so the guys helped me continue on the project. I was really scared to release it because there's a lot of work that went into it, and I was thinking GW might shoot it down, but no. So we haven't gotten anything from them even after the trailer. I'm a little surprised, but moving forward,
right.
We have heard people. From there, I'm not going to name any names, but say that they enjoyed it. So there's people over there that have been giving it a nod.
Awesome, that's great.
I think what they're doing is they're kind of seeing what everyone's saying about it, and they're kind of waiting to see what happens before they do anything.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in the future, it would be nice to get their blessing for sure. Nothing official right now, so.
Well, I think that would be super cool if, not only that they came to you guys or did talk about it. I don't know, obviously, what that process entails, necessarily for getting any kind of that. I talked a little bit, actually, to the Lord Inquisitor dude when he was at the Nova Open. and he
Nice.
kind of like talked to us a little bit about what they were doing, and I reached out actually to him because I had this idea for building a 40K social network, and I wanted to use a part of his film in the background loading for this website. But unfortunately, they couldn't give us that permission because they already had the licensing through GW. And, you know, yeah, so that was one of the weird kind of things is that.
Really?
Yeah, like once they had done the agreement with them, it was then up to GW whether or not they were going to give anyone else any permission to use any of that stuff. So I don't, you know, again, I don't know that that's like a blanket contract thing. I just know that that was sort of the conversation we had when I reached out to him, and then when I was talking and we were kind of hanging out at the Nova Open and just going over everything. But no, I mean, like, I think it'd be really cool to see them support and be involved with stuff like this. So, you know, it's just something that I really would want to see happen is continuing on this path of the GW that's involved with the community. I just think all that stuff is just really awesome. And I'm spoiled. I've never known a GW that isn't like that isn't involved in the community. So.
Yep.
People talk about it, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I've been spoiled from day one since I started playing. So,
yeah, that's part of the calculated decision that we made. Was, you know, times have changed. 10 years ago, I wouldn't even think about doing this.
Right. So, well, that's really cool.
That I think there's no downside to GW endorsing this kind of stuff as long as it's not disparaging and it's inclusive and. You know, like, why not promote the community to showcase their products for them, to showcase how much we enjoy them?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm down with that for sure. I think you had a couple other questions too, right, John?
I mean, I pretty much only have one left.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I've asked everything that I need to know. Unless, you know, everyone in the community is gonna be like, why didn't you ask this and why didn't you ask that? So I you know, you can't, like I said, you can't please everybody. But so. Hit him with the question.
Did Magnus do anything wrong by warning the Emperor of Horus's treachery?
Oh, see, that depends on who you ask.
He's asking you, my friend.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, I feel for the guy, but then at the same time, I mean,
I don't like where this is going.
This sounds just like me. This is great.
No, there was a lot of things in between. Like, you can't just blame him.
But you can't just give him a pass either.
Wait, look at it this way. If I was him, hell yeah, I'd send a message. But there's so much perspectives that you're reading it at that it's like, can you fault him for it? So in a way, morally, from his perspective, he did nothing wrong.
You heard it here, guys. Mark from Death of Hope. Hashtag Magnus did nothing wrong.
But then he could be in. No. That's a rabbit hole.
Manipulator.
I've had that conversation around. I think I've had a conversation around that in the pub like 5 times. Just hours, dude.
Just like in the bar.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's, you know. It's definitely a beer conversation.
How awesome is it, though, like, to have these conversations and just to be, like, an outside person or, like, look over at the outside people hearing you talk about all this nerdy bullshit, and you're just like, guys, you know, like, Magnus, like, he didn't do anything, you know? And
normally it's too loud to hear each other anyway, kind of yelling at each other, so, you know, I mean, I guess the only thing you'd hear from, like, the other table would be like, Magnus, and he had nothing wrong. Like, I don't know. But
the 41st millennium, you guys. All right, I don't know. That's just me. I totally like when I'm at the game shop and I'm like on the other side of the game shop because in my one friend's shop it's actually an auto shop as well. So like I always think about the people that come in to buy a car and they hear that and they're just like, what? Like,
yeah. No, I know. I mean, like I'm not a. I wasn't into Magic. I never got into it, but I hear people talking about it sometimes when I was working in a car shop as well, actually, and I had no idea what was going on. And I was a closet nerd, so I was kind of thinking it was weird. It is weird to hear.
It is weird. I mean, like, let's be real.
When you're not around it.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, it is weird to hear when you're not. And I have conversations actually in the office. The guy next to me, I introduced him to Warhammer, and then I sent him like videos and stuff, so he'd watch it at lunch and all that. And then some of the days, sometimes you hear us talking in the office. I don't know, I think we're really loud.
Right.
But we start talking about I started explaining to him what Space Marines are and all this stuff, and everyone's just trying to work. So it's just like, oh man. If you're not familiar with the nerd stuff, man, yeah, it sounds so off, but
for sure. Well, so to interject it here, Sean is kind of disconnected. So he mentioned that no way, right? He mentioned that he's not going to be jumping back in, so his part of that is done. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on the show and talking about what's going on and everything, and maybe hopefully we can follow up after some more stuff gets accomplished and done, and just kind of follow the project as it goes.
Yeah, definitely.